Is there an injection site for your Mounjaro, tirzepatide, Zepbound that works better than the others? Let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Hi friends, welcome back for another video. If you are new here, my name is Brittany and I have been on Mounjaro since November of 2022. I've lost 83 pounds now on Mounjaro and I have been maintaining my weight loss over, I guess, the past 6 to 8 months now at this point. And I actually just recently switched to compound with all of the Mounjaro shortages going on. So I have experience with it all. So if you're interested in any of that, hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss any videos, and don't forget to like this one. It really helps me out. So injection sites. There are 3 areas that the Mounjaro pamphlet, the Zepbound pamphlet recommends injecting in. That is the back of your arm, in the subcutaneous fat in the back of your arm, your upper thigh, and your stomach. A lot of people will report online that they have different experiences with different injection sites. And I never really even thought about it. To be honest with you, 90% of my Mounjaro journey, I injected in my thigh, and I would just alternate each day. And the only reason, or not each day, each week. And the only reason I did that was because I found that it worked. I found that I got good appetite suppressant, and so I never tried anything else in the beginning. And then I started seeing all of these people talk about all of the different side effects that they would get on Mounjaro with different sites. Like people said that in the back of their arm, they would have less side effects. In their stomach, they would be more nauseous. So I just kept seeing it and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try this out. So for the past 4 weeks, I have been alternating injection sites to see if my symptoms changed from one site to the next. And I'm gonna share with you guys what the results were because I think that they were very interesting. So, like I said, I've been doing it in my thigh for a couple of years almost now at this point. So I did start this process out with my thigh. Now I injected the medication into my right thigh, which has always seemed to be the side that I get more side effects on, was my right thigh. So I did that week 1. Now I had my normal experience, I would say. And for the most part, now that I'm on a lower dosage of somewhere between 7.5 and 10, I take compound again. But now that I'm not on 12.5, 15 anymore, I don't really have a whole lot of side effects in my thigh. It just, I might have a little trouble sleeping the first night. I might have the fullness feeling a day or 2 after the medicine, but that's really all that I feel on my thigh. So week 1 went exactly as planned. No extra side effects. It was just kind of the same old, same old. Week 2, I decided to do it in my stomach. Now, I will say that the whole reason that I never did it in my stomach previously was because I've had a tummy tuck and I didn't know if I had enough subcutaneous fat or skin there anymore since it was all cut off to really properly absorb the medicine. I never asked the doctor about that. I just kind of figured it up in my head. It made sense to me. But for the purpose of this experiment, I went ahead and did it in my stomach again. Now, week 2 in my stomach, oh my gosh, y'all. I was so nauseous. I have not experienced nausea from Mounjaro since the very, very, very beginning of my journey. We're talking back when I was increasing and titrating up in dosages. So we're talking over a year and a half ago now at this point. I would have some nausea a day or 2 after my shot. But since then, nothing at all. I was so nauseous with it in my stomach for 4 days after, to the point where I couldn't eat anything. One whole day I stayed in bed. It was a Saturday. I literally slept all day because it was so bad. As far as the appetite suppressant went and all of the other side effects, I felt the same. It didn't really suppress my appetite any more than my thigh did. The only difference was this undeniable, awful nausea. And to me, that means don't put it in my stomach again, right? Why would I do that if I'm gonna get the same type of effect that I want? I didn't notice any less food noise, any more appetite suppressant, any other of the good, quote unquote, good side effects that you want from Mounjaro. I didn't experience any more of those in my stomach. So I only did it 1 week in my stomach. My plan was initially to do 1 week in the thigh and then 2 weeks each in my stomach and my arms. But because I had such terrible nausea the first time in my stomach, I was not about to do that again. Like, not at all. So I ended that experience with week 1. I will not inject in my stomach again. And if you look up reviews or like Reddit posts or whatever, and I know Reddit is not news, but people are sharing their real experiences there. There are lots of people who have the same exact experience on when they put it in their stomach. The increased amount of nausea, like so much that they can't even stand it. So that definitely was a turnoff for me. And so I'm not going to be doing that anymore. Now, week 3, we moved on to my arm. Now, this was an area that I had never injected in before. Even with my stomach, I had done it once or twice in the I think my first and second shot. I think if you even go back and watch my first couple of videos, I show a bruise on my stomach. I did in my stomach, but my arms I had never done because I had never heard about that injection site until like much later in my journey. So this was the first time I was doing it, and it was a little bit tricky to figure out how to do it myself because you have to like squeeze the back portion of your fat on your like whatever, I have fat, but you know, the back portion of your skin on your arm. So what I actually did was I like propped my arm up on the kitchen table, and then like with it propped, I took the other hand and I did the shot. But there's people that I know that just kind of look in the mirror and go like this and shoot it in there. Whatever works, but you do have to put it in that bottom subcutaneous fat area. So I propped my arm up on the table, week 1. I was so nervous about what to expect. And yeah, let me tell you, there was a lot to expect. So I did it in my left arm first, and pretty much immediately, like within, I would say 2 hours, I noticed significant, not necessarily appetite suppressant, but the full feeling that you can get with Mounjaro, the sort of like ball in your stomach type feeling. It was instant. It was within like literally 2 hours. And normally that is a symptom that I will have on days like 2 and 3 after a shot, but it was almost instant this time. So I had the heaviness feeling in my stomach on that same day. And then by the end of that same day, I was feeling very turned off by food. Like I didn't even want to think about eating anything. And that is actually something that I have not experienced in quite a while. Since I've been on my maintenance journey and been lowering dosages and spreading dosages out and all of that, I don't necessarily not want food. I don't have cravings like food noise, but I can eat when it's mealtime. I just can't eat a ton of it, which is what I want, right? On a maintenance journey. But yeah, there was no having food. I had the heaviness feeling. I had complete appetite suppressant, like even like an aversion to food. And that was present the first day. Now, days 2 and 3, I had trouble sleeping, which has always been one of my biggest side effects, which I've just sort of gotten used to at this point, and it doesn't even bother me anymore. But I did have trouble sleeping. And then on day 2, so I took the shot on Thursday. So Friday evening, I had some slight nausea, but it was nothing like in my stomach, and it was much more manageable to deal with. So the appetite suppressant, now this is the part that I feel like is like really cool. The appetite suppressant and the fullness feeling lasted much, much, much longer in my arm than it ever has in my thigh or in my stomach, which is really weird. I don't know why. Like in theory, the site shouldn't matter. It gets absorbed into your body and it's broken down the same way. But for some reason, the appetite suppressant usually wears off for me. If I'm taking my shot on Thursday, I would say by Tuesday, I'm starting to get a little bit more hungry, and I'll always eat slightly more on like Wednesday and Thursday before my shot. But in my arm that first week, nothing. Like I did not have any hunger. My stomach never growled. It lasted all the way up until my second shot. The only thing that went away was the like ball in my stomach. That sort of went away as the week went on. But as far as like the aversion to food and not wanting food and not being hungry, that lasted the whole time. So I was very curious to see if that would continue into week 2 or if it was going to be the same as week 1. So week 4, but week 2 in my arm, I put it in my right arm, as you are supposed to alternate sides, or like sites. You know, I've talked about this a lot, but you don't do it in the same spot 2 weeks in a row. So I did my right arm, and it was actually worse in my right arm. So this time, again, I got the fullness feeling within, I would say earlier, so like almost instantly. Like last time it was like 2 hours. This time I would say within an hour, I was feeling that ball in my stomach feeling. And the same thing, aversion to food, pretty much instantly, nausea, slight nausea. And then on week 2 of doing it in my arm, I did notice some constipation issues. So I upped my water intake. I started taking my Colace, which I had not been taking regularly. And that sort of corrected that problem. Colace is a stool softener, if you don't know, and that corrected that problem. But it was the same thing. The appetite suppression, the food aversion lasted the entire week. I did not have any food noise on either of the weeks that I did it in my arm, and it was amazing. So my consensus on this, after doing this little 4-week experiment, is that if you, I know everybody's different. Maybe I should have disclaimed this in the beginning. Everybody is different, and everybody's gonna have different reaction to different areas. So I definitely think it's worth for everybody to experiment and figure out which site is best for you. But in my experiment, I found that the arm, especially during weight loss, produced the most good side effects. The food aversion, the fullness feeling, the no food noise, all of that. I feel like the arm definitely was best at that. So I wanted to make this video and kind of share what I was thinking for you guys. Going forward, I am not going to be doing it in my arm because I'm not trying to lose more weight. So I probably will go back to my thigh, the good old thigh that has served me so well this whole time. But if I was in my weight loss journey currently and I had done this experiment, I would 100% would switch to my arm for a while and see if that helped me to lose weight faster or kick, you know, if you're in a plateau, try a different injection site, something like that, so that you can kickstart it. That's a great tip for a plateau. If you're in a plateau, before you go up in dosage, I talked about this in my last video, try a different injection site. And that proved true for me. Again, I said I've been doing my thigh, switched it to a different area, and I'm like, whoa, it's a whole new life. So definitely give that a shot. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something and enjoyed learning about my experiment. The emoji of the day, my friends, is going to be we'll see. A bow. There's bows, right? Like a pink bow, right? That's a thing. Let's do a bow. Drop an emoji. I don't care. Do whatever emoji suits you. Your favorite one of the day. Let's just drop an emoji for the algorithm to help your girl out. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will see you guys on Friday, and I hope you have a great day. Bye, guys.